guest on Vinyl and Vision.
Hey folks, thanks for tuning in to the latest episode of Vinyl and Vision. This is episode 84 and number 9 in our Noise Rock series for No Coast Fest 2022. Today's very special guest is Heet Deth, a duo from Chicago. Laila Eskin and Julia Bard are the members. Now, so just to let you know, Heet Deth is performing a couple of shows with Moonpussy, previous guest Chris Koyar. I will link their website and their Bandcamp so that you can either find out about those dates and find out exactly where they are and how to get to them, if maybe you're in the area, and also to get their new record. It's the second pressing of their vinyl. They actually sold out of their first pressing, which is very impressive. It's a very great accomplishment. And of course, we're going to link ways to get tickets to No Coast Fest because Heet Deth is playing on Saturday, which is an amazing bill for the No Coast Fest down there. And you should get your tickets. We're down to the last week. This is serious, folks. Do it. Seriously, what are you doing with your life? Great conversation. Topic of conversation, obviously, was revolving around System of a Down's Toxicity. I don't know how you feel about that record. I mean, it's for me, I'm an oldie, so it's kind of like it was a little weird for me, but obviously pertinent to Julia and Laila in their development into noise rock, hard rock music in general, and so forth. So it was a really, really great, entertaining conversation, actually. I think we had a lot of fun. I very much enjoyed speaking with them. So if you like the show, folks, please do all the things you do with the internet is what we ask that you please do. Like, share, subscribe, comment, rate, review, all of those things. Anything else you can think of, be great. If you care to help us out in a financial way, you can always go to our website, psychicstatic.net, and make any purchase you want through that website for anything that we have there, and it all goes towards helping out here in the show, and we really, really appreciate it. We thank you very much, and we will talk to you again very soon. Hello, Laila.
Yes, me.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing today, James?
Doing okay. You are in full regalia.
Yes. I mean, I'm cursed to look like this all the time, actually. But no, actually, me and my bandmate Julia are getting ready for the show. Julia, do you mind?
Not at all.
All right. Are you ready to see Half-Baked Heet Deth?
Sure.
Half-Baked.
Working on our look because we've got a show later tonight.
Oh, okay.
Get out the sun. There we go. We're in our practice space right now. Share a lot with some good people.
Yeah, okay. So you're in Chicago then right now?
Yeah, we're in Chicago at the moment. And cool. we're getting ourselves psyched up for Texas. Seriously, it's going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sure it is. Yeah. I'm so super excited for it. Where's your show tonight?
At Liars Club, which is this really awesome kind of Kiss themed bar. A lot of Kiss stuff everywhere. The owner just can't get enough of Kiss. Mm-hmm. And he's a great guy. I feel like some of the best sound and music is played there, though. Lots of really good punk bands for sure.
Gary. Awesome.
Yep. Shout out to Gary. Shout out to Awesome, the sound guy.
Awesome Sound Guy, that's his name?
Yeah, Awesome. ASIM. I know. We were like, your name can't be awesome. He's like, it can be if you spell it like this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Forgot.
Proven wrong. Wow, that's cool. So and so speaking of No Coast, considering you mentioned it, what are you doing to get there? Like, are you doing like a tour at all, or how are you getting there?
Yeah, so we're doing like a mini tour, and we're going with our friends in Moonpussy. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to meet up with them in Kansas City, and then we're going to make our way down to Oklahoma City together, and then hit Denton, hang out with everybody, get to know everybody, watch, learn, hear some noise, make sure to wear earplugs, but we'll see how helpful that really is.
Yeah, I bet.
And then this month, we're kind of finishing up the first half of shows. So far, we've had 2. This is number 3 for the month. And then we have 1 more next week. kind of like grinding away here in Chicago. I've been playing all over the city all year, it seems.
Yeah. Well, you have that new record out, so that would make sense that you would be playing and kind of promoting it, right?
Yeah, as much as we can. The good news is that we before the summer we actually ran out, sold out of our first pressing, but now we finally got our second pressing back in. So you'll be able to pre-order those vinyl presses to be sent to you. I'd say in about a week.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So boom, second pressing.
Yeah, no, that's great. Congratulations. I mean, it's always it's always kind of like fascinating for a young band to kind of like get those out there. How many initial do you know how many initial copies you've made?
About 100 to start, because we were like, well, we've always wanted something kind of solid, and we've always dreamed of just having it, but we had no idea how quickly it would sell out. So we're slowly convincing our very local and very shoestring budget record label to print more and more as time goes on. If we sell it, I think they don't mind as much.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, I'm doing it myself, so I mean, I can see that it's kind of asking a lot to put out a record for anybody at this point.
Oh, yeah.
And you had the right idea, like print just a few just to know that you've done it, you have them in your hand, you can be proud of it, and then if they all sell, great. And if they didn't all sell, well, it's not that much of a loss.
Exactly.
At least we said we did it.
Yes, at least we did it.
Absolutely. And so, all right. So second pressing is coming. Well, that's cool. So for collectors, I mean, that's kind of like a big deal, because they'll be like, oh, no, there'll be a very limited amount of people that have that first run. And maybe those will mature a lot faster.
Exactly. Yeah. It's kind of mind blowing to see people kind of buying it and being like, you know what, I'm gonna make this my collector's item. I'm gonna go frame it over here and buy another one for listening. And I'm not used to that. I'm just used to like, hey, like, thank you for just listening to the music, buying the record. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's great, especially like in this day. I mean, it's so hard to break through like in any form, really. So it's like if you're reaching people and the record selling, I mean, there's not much more you can ask for, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, good. I've got my buddy right here. We're using the
Hi, Julia.
Hello.
This is us.
This is
during the
you.
Golden hour. We must use it.
Pre-show. I feel honored to be able to speak with you before a show. This is actually kind of the thing I've always wanted to do.
Really?
Yeah, I actually, because like I was thinking when I started doing this, I was just like, oh, maybe if I can like go hang out with bands like in the green room, like while they're on tour, and just like, because what else are you doing when you're on tour? It's just like you get to sit in a grungy, dingy room back behind a stage for hours on end.
Even just a toilet we call the green room. We're like, oh yeah, that's the green room for the show. We're going to use it.
Yeah. No, right. I know, it's crazy. So, I'm sure you've seen a fair share of those grungy places.
Oh yes, honorable yet cursed toilets. I can count them all off on my hands and tell the exact. Well, Julia knows I have a very sensitive like sense of smell and stomach, so they watch out for me whenever there's a really cursed toilet somewhere.
Go no further. There's nothing for you here.
Yeah. Oh, that's rough though. When you're on the road though, it's just like sometimes you have no choice. You're just like, it's this or nothing.
You work with what you got.
That's right. And you just hold your breath.
Breathe through your mouth.
Yeah.
Best you can.
Sometimes breathing through your mouth isn't that great either. No.
No, then you taste it. It's disgusting.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about music. Can I get a little bit about your backgrounds? Are you both from Chicago?
I am. I've lived in Chicago all my life. Moved out of the more northern suburbs when I was about 22. I've been living in Logan Square for the past 7 or 8 years now, and I love it. So I've been in Chicago my whole life. But Laila.
Oh, me. I came from Denver. I moved out here after many years of yearning to be in a bigger city.
Mm-hmm.
I did play in a band with my friends, 2/3 of Moon Pussy,
Oh,
in another
okay.
project which we called Fetishize,
Okay.
and they taught me so much about how to play like really more aggressive music than what I thought I was capable of. So
Oh,
I'm eternally thankful for them.
yeah. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so yeah, so you have a close connection to Moon Pussy because
Yeah.
obviously you're going to to Denton with them, and you were like, were you born and raised in Denver? Is that?
I was raised in around the Boulder, Denver area,
Okay.
Boulder, Colorado mostly, which is completely um jam band, bluegrass, central, and it is where I needed to leave as soon as I possibly could.
Okay, yeah. Chrissy was telling me a little bit about the scene over there and how it's like musically it's not really that impressive.
No, I'd say like if you want to find something more impressive, it's usually the metal bands, and there's very few of them.
Mm,
Um, the most of what you're gonna find out there is you're gonna find mostly jam bands, and they're all really into fish, and they all have dreads, and they're all in Colorado because they love weed. And
mm.
I was just kind of over it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand that. Well, so how like I've been talking about noise rock specifically lately. I don't know how you feel about that label on your music. Are you cool with noise rock?
Sure.
Personally, I love that term being associated with us because I love to embrace ugly sounds
Hmm.
over a long periods of time. So
Mhm.
and and rhythmically ugly noises,
Yeah.
which I think
And we found it kind of hard to like, categorize exactly what we do. I've been calling it rock and roll, but I always really like to hear like what other people would classify us as.
Hmm.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, because I was thinking like, I mean, it's kind of like derivative of garage rock, really, but
yes.
there is a kind of more maybe maniac, noisy element to it, and so you kind of get lumped into the noise rock category, which is cool. How do you feel about noise rock in general, as far as like, are you fans of the genre?
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I love listening to all sorts of things. And again, I was kind of introduced to it by Moon Pussy. They kind of treated me like a little sister and
Hmm.
opened up my world to like way more aggressive stuff. And it's like a piece that was missing was finally there. And I was like, hell yeah, I love this shit. I want more, and I don't know how I can get more, but I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
Julia.
You've really been opening my eyes and expanding my horizons when it comes to noise rock. Because I mean, I'm the kind of person that when I like a thing, I'll listen to just like that one album or that one song over and over and over again. But you listen to a lot of music, and that's been a really like a really cool influence.
Mm.
And I've grown to really appreciate the sound of like arrhythmic, kind of abrasive sounds repeated in a really like almost like pleasing like pattern. I don't know. I like when I can find patterns, which music. So
Right.
that's yeah, that's been doing it for me because
Mhm.
I can't the one of the bands I used to be in was very different. It was a very like I guess I kind of want to say like Arcade Fire esque indie pop kind of group. So I feel like that is a box I've been trying to break out of. And so I'm like, oh, you can make music that's simple and angry and aggressive, and
Mm.
this is good.
It
I
feels
like
good
it.
to play
It
it.
feels really
It
good
feels
to
very
play
good to
it.
play it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
very
most
very cathartic, I imagine, huh?
cathartic. That's the word. Yeah.
Yes, in comparison.
Yeah. Well, so I was wondering if you could tell me like like how would you define noise rock music?
I'll give it a start. I
Yeah.
think I believe that it's like angular melodies paired with either yelling or with a poetry reciting with a lot of nonchalance
Hmm.
and beats that really it's music that makes you clench your teeth and like
Okay.
nod your head just so naturally. Like I don't think I experience it very many other places unless it's like really hard industrial, like dance music or really good heavy rhythmic metal. But noise rock has that element to it that some rock and roll like just does not have.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. And how about you, Julia? What do you think?
Goddamn racket. But
A
I
little
think
bit of
you,
that. Yeah, I'm sure.
yeah, a little bit of that. I think you really kind of hit it on the head, like angular, aggressive, kind of, I don't know. It's a genre that it feels like people really channel big feelings into, and I can always appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good place to like, experiment. You hear a lot of sounds you wouldn't hear any other places. Like I don't know, like someone using a bottleneck to just run up and down.
Oh, a
down
bass neck or something,
exactly.
or like people using their pedals a little bit more creatively to make abrasive or strange sounds.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a great element to point out. Yeah, because that's true. I do see a lot of that in all types of noise rock music. You know
Yeah.
what's funny though, and what I love is that I've been like doing a lot of research about No Coast Fest specifically recently, and like I've listened to a good portion of the bands that are on the bills, and it's just like they're all kind of sound very different.
Yes. I think that's like the best part about like calling yourself in a noise rock group is because it's so expansive. It doesn't feel like you're necessarily boxing yourself in.
Yeah.
There are some purists out there that like to think it's like somewhere in the mid 90s, really aggressive, like nice arpeggiated yet angry and ugly guitars and that kind of rock and roll. But I love listening to it, but I also think yes and it's really expansive, and like that's kind of the super exciting thing about being invited to do this with all those artists, is because I think it's because they understand the expansiveness of what noise and how it integrates well with really hooky and aggressive music can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like being a purist is kind of it's an unfortunately like limiting way to look at it, because I feel like if I ever see like a noise section in a record store, it's usually like noise / experimental, which it's like, yes,
Sure.
go out, have fun.
Yeah. And I mean, just noise is like such an expansive word on top of that, isn't it? Like what like
right, anything can be noise, really.
Yeah,
noise
anything.
is what you make it.
Noise is what you make.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I invited you on to talk about a record that was important to you, and so did you both come to the conclusion to choose this same record, System of a Down's Toxicity?
I think we both discussed it because we're like, well, what really inspired us to go down this path of more aggressive music?
Right.
And I think it, like, for me, it started there. And I've been since influenced by so many wonderful noise rock artists, but like to like kind of find the origin of species in the evolution of my listening for heavy music. I think for Julia
definitely
too,
the on-ramp.
The on-ramp for everything.
We both come from like classical background. Like we grew up singing opera, and so like we, heavy music was not really something we were exposed to,
or even thought we could do.
That was,
I think that was the bigger part.
Talk about limiting.
Yeah. For many years, we were kind of limiting ourselves and thinking like, because we're both, like trained to sing very pretty, we can only sing pretty, and we can like, and listening to heavier music, why would I do that when I have to focus in on all this pretty shit? Can I swear?
Okay. Yeah, of course you can. Yeah.
Okay.
By all means.
Control and like, control and finesse.
Yeah,
control and finesse. Wild abandon.
Yes.
Okay.
Very different.
Yeah. So how did you get turned on to this record, and at what like time frame?
Okay, I was since I don't really have like an older brother or sister, like all I had was the radio.
Okay.
And I was tuning in, and all I heard was aerials playing I think it's like the second or maybe last track of that album.
Last track.
It's the last track of the Toxicity album, and they had it playing over and over on the radio for Colorado, which normally, like, I can't say this enough. There's not really much culture in Colorado. You are not exposed to much. So when finally something heavy and pretty lived in one place, I was hooked. I was like, how do I find more heavy shit now? I was 13. And I just Julia, 13. How about you?
See, for me, I think how I first got exposed to them was, so before that, the heaviest band I listened to was this 4-piece cello band called Apocalyptica, who played Metallica songs on cellos, and I thought they were pretty rockin'.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, for like, I think either Norwegian, Finnish, Swedish, possibly
Scandinavian.
Okay, yeah.
Long blonde-haired guys just rocking out on cellos, playing Metallica, and then other things. They went on to write more original music, but that is the heaviest thing that I had. And I think at summer camp one year, I was comparing notes with the one like other like alternative kid that whose parents sent them to summer camp.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, "All right, try listening to this." So, what is this? What in the hell is this? I think he just started it, and it was the first song, Prison Song, and I was just like, this is saying something, and this is like making me feel things, and it's and then you get further into the album or even into the song, and you hear just really pretty harmonies. I've always loved harmonies, so I mean, System of a Down, it will give you that in spades. So I loved that about it. I also I was kind of into like world music, like at the time, and my parents were playing a lot of klezmer at home, and I was like, this reminds me a little bit of
scales,
of klezmer a little bit, but you know, in a style that I wanted to go more towards. That's what I really liked about them.
Right,
so after that, I went out and bought the album, and then just listened to it a lot until that CD started to just get scratched and skipped.
Yeah. And are you both about the same age? Is that so? Was this the same time frame, kind of?
They're about.
Yeah, actually, I think so.
Yeah.
Like you're about a year older than me. And it's like it's like when we first met, and we were just like, I was like, oh, you sing opera too? Oh, that'd be really, I don't know. I was a home wrecker for one of their bands, and I was like, can I go in and watch you guys practice? And then I was like, cool, maybe you should jam with me sometime. And I want to try some heavy guitar shit and see what happens. And
yeah, we kind of bonded a little bit over the fact that we always wanted to play heavy music, but like
we're a little afraid to.
Because maybe some I don't know, just classical thinking, and then a non-zero amount of internalized misogyny on my part, because I was like, girls can't play heavy music. I could never. Drums,
right.
You know, cut two. And yeah, you basically dared me to play the drums.
I did jam. I dared them to play the drums because they were longingly looking over at this kid all nice and set up in this practice space that we were sharing. And I was like, do you want to jump on or something?
I was like, no, I won't be good. And then you were like, I don't care.
I don't care.
Shit.
I think, isn't that like kind of the principle of like garage rock and like punk music is like, you really don't have to be good. It's all about like the spirit.
Yeah. Most of the best ones, that's how they started. They started by somebody basically delegating them onto their instrument, and then they just took it from there. Seriously, yeah, like Simon, what's his name? Paul Simonon, bass player for the Clash.
Oh,
they were just like, oh, you're the tallest, you should play the bass.
You know what?
Good logic.
I feel like that's on that kind of correlates for me. Though Chrissy, on the other hand, I think she is the shortest, yet she rips really fucking hard on the bass for Moon Pussy. Of the bass players I love. Small but mighty, yes. So am I. I'm just as short as she is. And
right. Well, it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, maybe that's it makes sense. Like if you kind of think about the bass being like a large instrument, but I mean, obviously anyone can do whatever they want. And I think that you are kind of a testament to that, right? I mean, you're breaking the barrier or the boundary in your mind that you felt you were hitting as a young person with, like, trying to get into loud, aggressive music in the first place. And now you're doing it, and the other part being the gender role in what you're doing in this noise rock and rock and roll in general. I mean, how do you feel about that?
The gender, I mean, like, I think like my favorite stuff that I've listened to when I even started listening to noise rock and more aggressive, like Riot Girl stuff, like it was always the more attractive thing to me to listen to, because there's something so visceral about femininity that it's like an unspoken rage that's like only let out through this kind of medium. And I feel like I used thank you, Julia. I used this a little bit like as a tool for me to just be like, you know what, like if I think I'm being silly, maybe I'm not going hard enough. Like I should be going even harder, and I need to kind of get out of my own head and stop thinking that I need to make myself so small, and instead just be as aggressive as I've always dreamt of being. And because I admire I admire so many men who play, of course, like, because that is just so many of who made rock and roll and noise rock and all that.
Sure.
I guess I just wanted to be a part of it. And I just thought to myself, well, if I'm going to be a part of it, I'm going to need to go really fucking hard with the sound sonically, and access something that makes me feel like it's heavier than heavy. And it feels like exact with how I feel, I guess.
Yeah. That's a pretty like impressive like mindset to have going into it. I mean, like, especially because you were kind of doing it for the first time. It's not like it kind of came normal to you or natural or this was something that you were very much trying to achieve. And so that seems like a very kind of progressive mindset to have, and that's really admirable, actually. I mean, I really admire that.
Thank you. I think it just took a lot of letting go of my own preconceived notions of what a good version of me as an artist would be. I think like it's not all about the flourishes or how pretty, or it's not really competitive when you want to just like really bob your head, like headbang to what you're doing, like, because that was always a dream of mine.
Mentality is not the goal. The goal is like we want to make you feel something, and make you bob your head even when you don't want to.
Yeah Accessing the lizard brain.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, that's great. I mean, I completely agree with that. So talking about this record again, I think you were mentioning something about how you were kind of I think you were saying it, Julia, you also were listening to a little bit of like world music at the time, and then so this kind of maybe triggered something in you because the band's background is all Armenian. They're all Armenian people who a little bit of that music kind of works into what they made here.
Yeah, I think it does. Like Serj Tankin's just style of singing was just so, like, I don't know, natural, unique to him, and just so I don't even know how to describe it. I mean, powerful, obviously, but just the harmonies that he would do, sometimes with himself, sometimes with Darren Malakian, the guitarist, would just I don't know. I would just kind of like, some songs I would just, you'd get to a certain part of the song, and then I would just rewind it and listen to that section like over and over. Like there are a couple of points in Aerials where that happens. Yeah, there's something about that. Like they kind of, when I hear a good harmony, it just kind of like makes grooves in my brain, and I want to just like hear it over and over again until I can just like, I don't know, like hear it in my head without even having to like listen to it. I love it. I love an earworm.
Yeah. Let me ask you something about this band, System of a Down, because so you chose this record, and I knew it. I knew this band and I knew this record, but I knew the first record. Like what I was realizing is like I started listening to this, I was just like, I don't know any songs on this record. And
Really?
Yeah, well, I mean, minus like the radio songs,
Right.
I knew a couple that definitely stood out. I was just like, okay, yeah, I've definitely heard this before. But then I went back to their first record and listened to that. I was just like, I know this entire record. Like, I know
Yeah.
this whole record
Yeah.
because, like, at the time, I mean, I think the first record came out in like '98, I think.
Yeah. That sounds right.
Yeah, and I remember being in a band with a bunch of dudes, and one of them in particular was a very big fan of this band, and they brought in that first record, and it was like really weird and unique. I mean, it was definitely like kind of unique for metal and new metal of the time, and
Right.
yeah, I remember listening to it and like being pretty impressed, and you know, now listening back into it, I'm just like, holy shit, I know this whole record. Like I can actually like I knew every part and everything that was coming. But then I put this one on. I was just like, I guess I lost interest by the time this record came out because I just didn't know it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That happens. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
it was at that time in my life where I was actually starting to get turned on to noise rock, and so
yeah,
all the new metal stuff and all that, it was falling to the wayside for me at that point. Because
totally. Isn't that kind of when I just watched the Woodstock '99 documentary and I was
oh
like, this
god,
is like the death of new metal
yeah,
right now.
yeah,
But
that was I couldn't, I actually really couldn't stand that documentary. It was just making me so upset just watching it. It's like,
yeah,
From a logistics
yeah, from a
standpoint, just
logistics
like
standpoint,
everything
just roof. Yeah,
so
but
wrong.
anyway,
mhm,
just but yeah, I can totally understand that. Like, I feel like we when we were like our age, like it's when MTV was like going through a huge transition from like
mhm,
kind of like cool, like more aggressive, any like all sorts of genres, music videos into like total pop
right,
and
And a lot of weird dating
a lot of
shows.
weird dating shows. And metal would be lucky to make any of it. And System of a Down was one of the very few that did.
Mhm.
right, yeah, they were able to kind of squeak past all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's
Interesting.
one of the reasons is because I mean Toxicity is just full of I think it's just full of hooks
Oh, yeah. It's all
that'll
hooks.
yeah.
Mhm,
I
yeah,
like the combination and the juxtaposition, if you will, of something super like hard, aggressive, just like yelling about
Mhm.
what's going on in the world, and then like
mhm,
a I don't know, like a straight up like almost disco beat that'll be underneath all of it and kind of like have you like, oh, this is
Yeah,
a bop.
love
It's
it.
like, hey, wait a minute, the prison system is terrible and ruining
yeah,
a
Hey.
complete
right.
society.
Now, so you were you paying a lot of attention to the lyrics of this album too? Like, were you kind of like looking for the messages at all?
I couldn't understand it
Okay.
much. I was mostly there for the I was mostly there for the music, the hooks, the
Yeah.
harmonies. But then I got a hold of the like the lyrics book, and I looked and like, oh wow, these guys really know what they're talking about.
Very
They're
informative.
mad about a lot of stuff. Well,
Hmm.
maybe I should look into that a little bit.
Yeah.
So you didn't think like you didn't like understand that they were like a kind of a political band?
No, someone had to tell me that.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, it kind of let's see. I mean, prison song kind of does set the tone when like he's like yelling they're trying to build a prison and then like rattling off statistics about like the type of people who are incarcerated
Right.
and
I don't think I was personally aware until I listened to the whole record way later in my life.
yeah.
And I was like,
Okay.
wow, like they really snuck in a lot of ideas into my head. And I kind of love them for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like,
Planting the seeds.
plant the seeds. And that was like, man, there should be more music that like that. Like it's very hard, I think, as an artist to try and put in a very important message like, yes, I want to change the world without making it sound so preachy. So you kind of have to figure out the right medium to deliver a message, and you try to, I think that how they did it was a lot more storied forms, a lot more visual than statistical. The only thing I'd say was statistical is Prison Song off that album.
Agreed.
But I feel like
Yeah,
that
I think
really
so.
like pushed me lyrically to like, and you too, to not be so on the nose and just like get off the nose,
Yeah.
Right.
get right off, dance right off that nose. We need to think of a more subtle way to describe what we're feeling.
You can make a point without stabbing someone.
Yes, exactly.
Right, right. Well, so how do you feel about politicism now? Like, I mean, are you like kind of politically active in a sense, or?
Personally,
I vote.
I vote. I vote. I feel like a lot of what we write is kind of admitting that we're kind of witnesses to a lot of sad shit, and it's out of our hands and out of our control. Climate change, like prison system shit, like these are systems way bigger than us as individuals, and I guess that we're kind of like writing about that feeling of not having any control over any of that stuff.
So
and
a little hopeless.
Yes, a little hopeless. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit.
No, I mean, I certainly feel that way. I mean, I don't think that, I'm not saying that disparagingly. I mean, like the world fucking sucks. I mean, and if you really kind of, I think I always quote John Frusciante about this. Like, I used to be a big Chili Peppers fan, and that guy, I remember at the time that they were recording Blood Sugar Sex Magic, he had said something along the lines of like, if I just like stopped and thought about all of the, horrible things and all of the like the depravity and kind of shitty things in this world, like I would just kill myself. It's just like I can't bring myself to that point. It's like I try to kind of like, live this, I guess, ignorant lifestyle just to kind of keep me from being, permanently depressed.
Yes. I feel that.
Yeah. Fighting for your scraps of joy where you can take them.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, good thing for you. You're in a band and you get to kick ass like on a regular basis and kind of get a little bit of that catharsis through that.
Yes, a lot of that. But I feel like, whenever it comes to what we write, it's like we just try to access the feeling. Like it's really just channeling all these anxieties about the world out of our bodies, out of our heads. And I think that's kind of our goal. And I guess from what we've written, it seems political, and we've been called political sometimes, but I'm like, yeah, I know. And I kind of take that a little bit weirdly. I'm like, am I not just allowed to feel a little bit sad about how fucked up this is? Like, I'm allowed to call something fucked up without it being necessarily political. Of course, I want the world to be a better place. Of course, I want to try and fight for a better world in my own small little ways. But I also feel like it's out of my control.
Do you feel like anyone that has confronted you with that, or like kind of like mentioned that to you, do you feel like it was possibly due to you being like a woman?
I think so. Sometimes. I mean, like I'm no Annie DeFranco, and I'm not Bikini Kill, and I'm not necessarily screaming about one subject in particular, but I guess like I'm just screaming about like this feeling of hopelessness and rage, and it's hard to express when you are kind of expected to kind of like just smile and like take it and be very passive, or at least trained, like, you're raised to be a bit passive about things instead of like, angry, like being an angry woman is unbecoming or whatnot. This is but I feel like my favorite women are in fact quite angry in their own kind of sharp yet subtle ways.
Sure. Yeah. No, I can agree with that. Yeah. So how do you feel about like the noise rock scene, and do you like being a like kind of minority demographic in the noise rock scene? I mean, like because I was thinking about this. I was talking to Chrissy the other night, and like I don't know, like I definitely know women that are in noise rock bands, like especially in my city. Like I know some, but like nationally speaking, or even maybe internationally, like it's just like with any other music genre, really. There's an underrepresentation there. So I mean, what are your experiences? Trying, making this music and being part of that scene. Like, what are you experiencing with that?
Personally, I think we've been seeing a lot of enthusiasm from noise rocking dudes. Like they're kind of blown away, just seeing this kind of like ball of energy that we try to create and push out into them. But I get excited when I guess like I get really excited when I find another woman in the audience who might kind of look like me too a little bit. And I just see like them light up, and then I just think like, when I wasn't in a band, that was me. And I hope that like it lights their torch and like they go off and make more music. Like I don't care if it's noise rock necessarily, but I do want to see a lot more different people sharing stuff, because I think I feel like what a lot of people might not acknowledge is that like a lot of people in the outer skirts of the typical white male noise rocker like world, I feel like they bring something very unique sonically, because that's just what's inside of them, and it's their experience. And if you don't see it very often, it's just so exciting and surprising. And
this kind of sparks the idea of like I could do that. Maybe not that exactly, but the thing I want to do, like the thing I do deep inside, like I can't do because that person is obviously doing what they feel they were meant to do.
Exactly. Or just like, you know, you can tell when like you're like, I like to be a conduit for the music, and I guess that's why we like to look as loud as we sound. But like, yeah, I'd say like for hanging out with men in the noise rock scene, like I really have not had any troubles. Like once I feel like sometimes we have to prove ourselves by playing first.
Sure.
Because when people see us initially, sometimes we get that look of like, oh, like here's a gimmick.
Yeah.
Right.
Here's a gimmick. I'm not sure if it's the woman that's the gimmick or the
whatever
or the or the gender fuck friend.
Yeah.
Or the gender fuck over here.
Or sometimes they'll like just assume I'm a dude and start talking to me like I know what's going on. Like Laila is the one with the plan. Laila is the logistics person. You are making a mistake.
Yeah.
But,
and so what is your experience with that? I mean, like you're kind of talking about this now. I mean,
mostly people, I mean, well, okay, I won't say mostly, but I mean, I feel like more often than not, I mean, I do, I guess, physically skew a lot more like mask than I used to. So sometimes like the big thing will just be like the small things, like, I don't know, like guys will come up and start talking to me like just assuming I know things about guitars and pedals, and I'm like,
no.
Sorry, not yet, at least. Or like they'll like look at us and like, I know you as girl Heet Deth and guy Heet Deth.
Oh yeah, that happened. But sure, I mean, like they don't. Too. Yeah, I mean, like I don't think. Well, not everyone is aware of like your transitional journey.
That's
of life.
Valid. Like it's not. That's valid. Like you don't need to. And I forget. It's like, oh yeah, not everybody is in my head experiencing what I'm going through.
Right.
Like, most of my experience is just like, it's probably fine, but I always worry that I'm making somebody uncomfortable for one reason or another. But you know what? That's just social anxiety in this day and age.
But I also think like, Julia, you grew up in the feminine world just like me, and you were conditioned just like me. And it's so interesting to see how when we walk into a room, like how other artists start perceiving you right away. They're like, oh yeah, that's the person who knows exactly what they're doing. Like and I'm like ignored for a bit until after we play.
Yeah, and then I am wallpaper, and people are like, your tone. I'm like,
oh my god, no, they talk to Julia too.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
my gosh, getting excited about Julia.
So to be completely honest, and like to speak to what you were talking about, Julia, I mean, like, so I mean, it's pretty clear to me that you're transgender. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I'm non-binary.
Okay.
You know,
see, because that's the other thing too. Is just like I'll speak very frankly and like from my own perspective is that like I have a lot of questions, you know, and it's just like sometimes people come to me with questions like, you know, like it's like family members and stuff like that, and I don't know why. I just like I don't know any better than you really, but but like that's the thing is just like I think everyone is very, you know, a little nervous about possibly coming off as insensitive or maybe just I don't know, like it, like just insensitive
like
to
accidentally insulting.
Insulting.
We're all afraid of fucking up socially.
I feel that too.
Yeah,
with other like trans folks and non-binary people, because I mean, like you never know like what might, you know, rub somebody the wrong way. You don't want to be like, you know, callous about things. But I mean, curiosity is natural. I mean, curiosity is what got me to where I am. So I mean, like, I say
well, so with that being said, though, I mean, like, so I mean, what would you say is like the best way to go about, you know, kind of breaking through that barrier? Because like, I'll give you a quick example. Like my wife started working this job, and she came home one day and she's just like, I met this person that I work with, and they're really great. I really like them a lot, but I don't know if they're like transgender or not. Like they look like they might be, but I don't know. And I was just like, okay, well, I mean, did you talk to them about it? And she was just like, well, no, because I didn't know what to say. I'm just like, well, right, and I don't know what to say either. I mean, like, what is the appropriate, like, you know, like position in that?
Yeah,
like,
what's the protocol?
Yeah,
I get that. And I mean, me only being one person, I can only speak to like my own experience or what I like to have happen. But like me personally, I like it when people ask. I mean, like, obviously, like maybe not in the middle of like state dinner or something like that. But like, if you know, we're just like, you know, shooting the shit one-on-one, people are like, so what is this?
What's all this?
What's
all this?
Or just like it could even start off as just like, so what are your pronouns? And me personally, I'm like, he, they, she, anything with respect. And sometimes that just incites more questions.
I
it's
know.
like, wait,
right.
what? Or I can see like the questions forming, but people don't want to ask that. And I feel like it's such a unique experience to everybody. And I guess like I would say that the best way to go about it is just by like, pronouns are usually a good like on ramp to that. Just like asking what their pronouns are. And I mean, you know, usually like if they want to talk more about that usually that's a good way to like open the door and give the other person a chance to talk about like their own personal identity, because everybody is different and everybody has different levels of comfort with like, what they even want to share with people. But I think like just asking about pronouns in a low key setting is a pretty good on ramp to it and can like open up a lot of doors. Sometimes people want to talk about it right away. Sometimes
they don't want to talk about it at all. Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta like leave little like like breadcrums leading to the fact that's like, it's cool to talk about it with me if you want to.
Yeah. And I also think as a person who is a cisgendered person, like you go in and you accept every and all answers when you speak to your transgender buddies, and you're like, you know what? I don't know everything, and that's okay. That's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
If I knew everything, I'd be too powerful.
It would be over for everybody.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, that's cool. Well, thank you for clearing that up for me, because I mean, like, I know I actually even have friends that like ask sometimes about like what's the appropriate like procedure and protocol to you know, asking people about their you know, their genders and so forth and their pronouns. And yeah, it's like, I'm glad to hear that you say that it's like, it's just awkward too. Like it can be awkward, just as awkward for you as it is for anybody else trying to find out like what exactly am I supposed to do in this situation, you know?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Everyone's a little bit awkward about it, but I think that's very much the human condition. I mean, especially today, like we're, you know, pandemic's still raging and all that, but we're also like going back out, relearning how to talk to people.
Yes.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I think the goal for anybody that's trying to ask those questions is connection. And I think that's just something that we all kind of got to remind ourselves whenever we're starting off a conversation with anyone about anything personal or seeming or identification wise. Like, you never know. The world's full of all sorts of amazing and interesting people, but you've just got to accept any and all answers to how you get to know somebody. Always start off with hi.
Yes. Don't open with
pronouns.
Yeah, don't open with that.
And
start with
don't open with what kind of race are you either.
Like, don't do fact.
Yeah, maybe fun facts. I always like to say, hey, how are you? My name's this. What do you like to do for fun? That's what I care about first. I'm like, what sparks joy?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, and just always kind of like you know, always approach with an air of respect.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Respect and lightness.
Yeah, like cultivating curiosity. Because I mean, I think those conversations can be super valuable because I mean, curiosity is a natural part of it. And I feel like some people just like want to know what's going on with this person. Some people feel a little bubble of gender questioning in themselves, and that's a scary thing to look at. And
or maybe they're really excited that they see somebody that they kind of want to emulate too.
Yeah. Oh, right. Huh? You're questioning themselves, huh?
Could be.
You never know.
I mean, that's how it was for me. Like, I mean, like I remember my experience with meeting other non-binary people for a long time. It was like, that's not a thing. You can't do that. You can't not. And then I finally had to ask myself the question, like, all right, Bard, what's your damage? What is this? And after some soul searching, it was finally like, because if that was an option, that I would know about it. And I would have done that years ago. And then I mean, that's obviously not everybody's journey, but yeah, I don't know, cultivating curiosity and an air of respect and just like, you know, respecting people's boundaries if they don't want to talk about it or like whatever info they give you. And just, you know, I think, I think you actually touched on this. The best way to go into it is just treating the person like they're human and that like their transness is not like the whole of their identity.
Yeah, that's always good to just be like, what do you enjoy with your life? I'm sure that it's not just your identity.
Okay.
Right, but I'd say bringing it back to the noise rock world. The way that we interact with it, like we've found nothing but kindness. Like I feel like we just, you know, after we play, it's usually like, okay, now we're part of the group. We get to hang out. Before, I think everyone's just trying to size each other up because if they haven't heard each other before, if they haven't interacted with each other in the room before, like everyone's a little bit like postury, but
a little nervous,
a little bit.
Sure.
But I feel like the noise rock community has been very like live and let live, come as you are,
get weird,
get weird. Don't be a dick. So basically, like don't be rude. Don't be like, I don't know, just don't be horrid.
Yeah.
Right. And let these people prove themselves. Like, I mean, if they see a band, they're like, okay, let's see what's this band going to do, you know?
Exactly.
And if you're as good as you know, as someone might think that you are, or you just prove yourself to be that entertaining, that fucking energetic, that kind of crazy, and you know, no one can dispute that. You know, they're just like, oh, that's what I saw. Then that was pretty great.
Yeah. And let the music speak for it.
Maybe it's something from being like a lady as well. I don't know. But I feel like in order to be a part of something where it's like very male centric, you do have to prove yourself over and over. But I feel like working with like punk rockers, metal heads, noise rockers, like I don't feel that really as much because I feel like our music belongs somewhere in the heavy realms and I feel like no matter what, as long as I make myself happy on that stage, I'm happy.
True. Yeah, you got to take care of yourself really more than anything, first and foremost, I think. Well, look, we should probably get into this record because I think we've already been almost talking for like an hour, haven't we?
Oh my God. Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's okay. This has been going by so quickly. And but to be honest with you, so this record, like from what I typically do with these things, there's a lot of information about this band and about this music and about these songs. But I didn't really come up with very many questions for you. I just kind of like grabbed information about these songs and kind of just put it down here and just figured, let's just see where this goes.
Let's talk about it. Let's see what's up.
Yeah. I mean, so now we already discussed the present song a little bit. You know, you had mentioned that when you were first describing your introduction to this record. So let's just go ahead and skip on to the next song, Needles.
Needles.
Yeah. So oddly enough, the weirdest and most prevalent fact about this song is how the band almost broke up solely because Malakian and Odagian didn't like that Tankjian used the word my instead of your ass when referring to removing a tapeworm.
That's pretty awesome.
What a hill. What a hill to want to die.
That is so diva. That is high camp diva ness pulling a tapeworm out of your ass. I mean,
I want to know why. I want to know why what bothered them so much.
Yeah, what bothers them so much about it? Like,
based on what I heard Serge Tankian describe the situation being, was that like he kind of just said that it seemed like they didn't think it was like metal enough, or it was kind of an embarrassing like description.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, see, I
feel like
get
that's
that.
Rooted in homophobia.
A little bit.
A little bit, probably, yeah.
Come on.
Could be. But I mean, like, I get that. Like, I myself have gotten caught in the idea of like, no, I'm gonna look stupid if I do that. But like, you've been the first to remind me, like, Julia, one thing to take away from like opera is that if you're performing and you feel stupid doing what you do, you're not going hard enough.
You must go harder.
Yeah, you must go harder.
Yeah,
right. All in.
Yeah, they probably just didn't want to talk about butt stuff.
Yeah, probably not. But maybe it's a sensitive subject. Maybe one of them had a tapeworm or something. Right. I don't know.
Yeah, tapeworm in general is kind of really awkward topic to have. I mean, it's just
it is.
It's rough. I hear. I hear
it's fun.
Yeah.
To be completely honest with you, my wife is very into like natural holistic remedies and stuff like that.
Oh,
she got these weird pills because she was basically, she thinks that everybody has like parasites in them all the time, right? So this is true to a degree, like that everyone actually does have some weird like parasitic things inside of you, and so it's good to do a cleanse every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
So she got these weird ass pills that she was just like, just take like 2 of these every day, and then like it should clean you out, and it should kill anything in your body that doesn't belong in there. And I was just like, okay, great. I have not felt right since.
Oh no! It's no.
Nothing has proved itself to have done what it was supposed to do. Like I have no proof of ever having a parasite. Nothing like came out of me that didn't look right, but I don't feel right anymore.
I'm gonna
felt right since.
I'm gonna keep saying, keep watching those boots. Keep watching.
I don't even want to. I don't even want to anymore. It's just so it's so discouraging.
Poop Watch 2022.
All right. So my question for you, because of this song, is have you ever been in a band dispute?
In a band dispute.
In a band, yes, you too in this band. Have you ever had a dispute?
Only, I feel like when we're in the writing process, where there's points where we have to be like, you know what, that actually is a little bit like, I think the only thing we have a problem with is when something is too on the nose, and both of us write lyrics together. So one of us stops each other and they're like, there's a better way to say that, or there's a better way to fit that in.
Your ass, not my ass.
Yeah, because being gentle, because we're both creative souls, and we also know like there's a lot of feelings that go into what we love, and like we also go in with the mindset, which I also learned with Moon Pussy as well, is that if you don't like it, you can just let it go.
You can.
And I think that's what's helped us a lot as a band, is like, one, working together and calling each other out for like lyrics that are like, that is just way too fucking cheesy. Yeah. Or that's just way too much. Or like, I mean, like, we only have each other to lean on, which is kind of helpful. I don't know how we do with like another dynamic person, but thank God, because we can only schedule with one other person right now. That's all we can handle.
The only other like dispute I can think of is sometimes you're like, Julia, you need to believe in yourself more. I'm like,
that's the only dispute.
Whole ass.
When one of us is having one of our bad brain days of being like, I suck, I can't write anything, my music is garbage, and then the other is like, shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up and do one thing.
Do one thing.
Words
it's
of
okay
encouragement.
if we suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to psych each other up, because I think for a long time, almost like decades of my life trying to be a musician in this world, I was so hard on myself, I didn't even start.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want to do that again.
Yeah, that's a thing. That's the like that I forget what they call that. Paralysis of some sort. It's like an information paralysis. You kind of talk yourself down from like anything and all things, and just you end up doing nothing. ultimately.
Right, exactly. And I don't want to ever do that again. I've ever since I got out of that mindset once and I got a taste of what it's like to finally do what I actually wanted instead of talking myself out of it. I'm out. I'm not doing that anymore.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's when we get into a dispute is like, are you believing in yourself hard enough? It's okay if we suck. We can let the song go if we don't really like it. So
yeah,
that's good.
Don't tie your self-worth to this one thing you think you can't figure out.
Yeah, don't do it.
that.
Don't do it.
Right. Yeah, there'll always be more songs. You just got to keep on working at it.
Exactly.
All right. We should move on to the, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and move on to the song X.
Yes.
I remember this being a pretty cool song. I don't remember it too well, but the way I see it is like vocally speaking at least is that we don't need to multiply as in procreate due to overpopulation.
Yes.
I remember that staying with me. I remember that staying with me. It's like, oh yeah, we are running out of resources, and people don't seem to realize that. You just keep on
population keeps booming. Yeah,
and I mean that raising kids is never something that really appealed to me, and that was a nice sentiment to like be reinforced by an adult because everybody and everyone was saying it's like, oh, when you have kids one day,
when you have kids one day.
What if I don't want? What if I don't
want
that?
Well, right. And I've actually been very vocal on the show to people that I've spoken with being like, oh, you don't have kids? Don't have them. Like coming from a parent, I mean, like selfishly, I've had children and I mean, I love my kids, but man, they just, okay, first of all, they're a handful. So, there's that thing. There's like the loss of freedom as an adult to, do whatever it is you want to do. And, and like in your cases, play music. Can't play music anymore. Can't tour, do anything like that. But then there's also the aspect that you have to come to the realization that something horrible might happen to those children one day, and you're going to have to deal with that. That's what they don't tell you. There's no handbook being like, hey, your kid might die. You're going to have to deal with that. Can you handle that?
No. I can barely handle anything.
Yeah.
I can barely handle myself.
Right. Just thinking about it is just terrifying.
Yeah. My God. But I have wholeheartedly agree with with those lyrics. It's like it was kind of affirming of being like, oh, you don't have to. That's nice. I appreciate that. I feel like you get pushed into it.
Very.
Right. And don't kill the world in addition to it. I mean, like having all these kids and we're just running ourselves into the ground. I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
How much more can we possibly maintain and sustain for everybody in this world?
Oh, and it is definitely finite. Everything's finite.
Yeah. All right. Well, then next song is Chop Suey.
Oh, I mean, that's the yes.
That was my on ramp. Oh my God!
That was the real on ramp.
That was my on ramp. System of a Down. Here's my dirty secret. I didn't hear System of a Down first. I heard Weird Al's Angry White Boy Polka first, and then I was like, if I just find the bands that this is based on, I'll be able to say I like happy music. Well,
wait, Weird Al covered this song?
Oh,
Weird Al did like a mashup of like so many songs. There was like, oh my God, Last Resort by Papa Roach.
Okay, like a new metal medley.
New metal medley, but done in a polka style.
Oh God!
Oh, okay. All right.
Girl by the White Stripes.
Did you make your parents very happy for listening to that a bunch?
No. They did not appreciate it like
I
did. But yeah, it was a lot. And then like I remember like looking into a lot of the bands, and then System of a Down being the one that spoke to me the most based on like the heaviness after that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow, memory unlocked.
Yeah, there you go.
Cool. Well, so this song, I guess the main takeaway for this one is that it was originally titled Suicide.
Yeah.
I can see why they changed the name, like, content warning and all that.
They say it at the very beginning, like, we're rolling suicide.
Yes.
And they're recording. And I'm like, yeah, that's what it should be. But I'm sure they called it Chop Suey for those parental guidance ratings, which I feel like are thrown out the window these days.
Yeah.
Right.
CDs and all that.
Yeah, no, I don't think they do that anymore.
No, I think
But
you've given up.
but yeah, so I mean that was the only thing about this song really. I mean, like there's so many other little things about it. But yeah, this being the lead off single, the other weird thing was that so they banned this song briefly because I don't know if you remember this, but this album came out on September 4th of 2001.
Oh yeah.
So there was that whole controversy of the band well having this song flagged first of all because it kind of the lyrics are not necessarily like political in a sense, but they you know they spoke to like kind of not terroristic, but you know what is
Oh
it?
yeah.
My self-righteous suicide. You know, I cry when angels deserve to die. So it was kind of like it was too touchy for the time.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't know that would happen.
No, of course not. Yeah.
They, like, released it at the worst time possible.
Yeah.
Possibly, but I mean, like, it's kind of speaks to the fact that, like, is I don't know if that's what it was actually about, but if that is the case, then I can't. I mean, we know suicide bombers were not, invented really for September 11th, and it was
right.
it was in other places in the world. So, like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't think that it had to do with that. I just think that it was, you know, it was, that's what kind of people latched onto, and so obviously like clear channel radio stations were pulling it off the air for the time being. But you know what's funny is that they went on a tour with Slipknot not long after September 11th. Like they were scheduled to start, and then it got postponed because of September 11th. But I think the tour resumed like I want to say it was like even before October started. So it was just like, wow, the country didn't mourn for that long before they started getting back into the pit. Like,
I mean, like I kind of feel like the same with the pandemic. I mean, like, isn't that kind of a like? I feel like like I mean, I remember like the stupid viral stuff of celebrities like singing "Imagine" at our faces while we're all just thinking like. My girlfriend is a infectious disease doctor, and she I was just like, oh, my girlfriend might die, like she might die. I'm freaking, and these assholes are singing that. But I don't think it's necessarily equivocal to what Slipknot and System of a Down were doing. I feel like there's in a not global pandemic situation. I think it's like you've got to think like, do I want to bring joy or stay in the pain? And for how long? Like some people need escape, and I guess to bring it back to what we do, like we're like trying to bring out an entire vibration. We don't want the audience in their heads thinking about the sad shit in this world, maybe with the lyrics and stuff, but like, like we don't want them thinking about taxes, sad shit going on at home. Right. We want them to be here right now. So maybe in their mind, they thought like, well, it's probably better to just like move forward and find a little like snippet of joy for our fans while shit's really fucked in our country.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, yeah, the world needed like just to some kind of release after that happened. It just just thinking about it now in relation to the pandemic, I'm just like, oh wow, yeah, we kind of really jumped back into it, like not long after.
Yeah, but, really, like we're like, and I'm done mourning, and
really needed a return to normalcy.
Yeah, which I'm not even sure if we could be normal ever again. It still doesn't feel like that. I feel like a lot of people kind of got psychologically fucked with, and I mean, I'm including myself in that. Just like that's something weird happened, and we all got a little bit more depressed. Yeah.
No, I hear you. Look, we have to move on to the next song.
Sorry.
No, it's quite all right. We don't have a lot of time, so I kind of want to just maybe choose one more.
Yes.
I'll give you the choice. ATWA, Shimmy, Toxicity, or Psycho. Because I got something about each of these songs.
I'd like to choose Toxicity.
Let's do it.
Because I think
Okay.
that eating seems like a pastime activity as my lyric that sticks out with me and kind of also reminds me of what we write to.
What?
It's so
That's a lyric in the song?
yeah, eating seems like a pastime activity.
I
The
thought it was-
toxicity
Oh, okay.
person-
Yep.
I
Yep.
thought it
I
was
see it.
eating seeds is a pastime activity.
No,
Writ-
eating seems like a
Written
pastime.
here on Google, it says eating seeds as a
Oh,
pastime
see?
activity.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool, okay.
I always imagine like some like some I don't know
I'm-
hill person sitting on their porch eating sunflower seeds and spitting.
I was imagining people trying to put stuff in or like eating food in general because your shit's so toxic that they can't eat it. I guess that's what I
Whoa.
took with the song.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that that's true. Because I think there are so many different interpretations of like what someone can kind of come away with this song.
Mm.
So let's see, Odagian. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's how it's going down now.
Yeah.
He explained to MTV, the universe is the sacred silence and sleep, and the kids are the disorder. So how do you control the disorder in that universe? You can't. To me, that's toxicity.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, it's
Very
a little
deep.
little heady. I mean,
Yeah,
there's definitely a
very
lot to
heady.
kind of process in there. But like I was saying, I mean, there's so many different things. There's so many different ways that you can kind of interpret this song. Because even from the album art, the System of a Down over the Hollywood Hills, replacing the Hollywood, so it's kind of like them calling out LA as being a toxic city, which, true to form, it probably is.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah. And then there's so many different things. I mean, like you were pointing out, like this like eating seeds thing. Like, I don't know if like when you said that eating seeds to me, I thought like at least in some Indian foods, isn't there some kind of like seeds that they eat, like the after dinner kind of like
Yes.
mints or something?
Yeah, fennel seeds.
Fennel seeds, is that what they are?
Yeah,
fennel.
Yeah, I think fennel. They sometimes they coat it in like a candy coating. It helps freshen the breath.
Okay, right. That's what it is.
Boom.
To me, it also kind of eating seeds as a pastime activity. It kind of spoke to me about like the dangers of like just passivity, passive habits, just kind of like a habit of like either inertia or consumption and letting like life pass you by and just like kind of resigning yourself to a lifetime of inactivity or just like kind of just like letting the world wash over you and not really doing anything about it.
Right, and that in itself is like that immobility, that inertia that some people experience, and I think that's obviously like a very American thing. Is this like, I mean, we're the sickest country in the world, and it's all on our own. It's all of our own accord. We just eat shit. We don't do exercise. Like we don't exercise. Like it's horrible.
We don't
I mean,
take care of ourselves very well
don't
here.
take care of ourselves.
No, we don't. I mean, it's just like, and like everyone wants to think that they're doing the right thing. They read all the self-help books and all the fucking memes on the internet, like as they're spending hours scrolling through Instagram and Facebook and shit. And
Right.
it's just like what more do you need to wake yourself up to take care of yourself? Like,
no, because if I read about it, I don't actually have to do anything because I read about it. So
Yeah,
like
'cause
it's there,
Yeah. Yeah, but I feel that's very much like the American way, and it's pretty sad. I think it's just because we don't put value on ourselves as much as we should, like our own health and what it means to be healthy. Because it's like
afraid of failure, so you don't even start.
Yeah, you're afraid of failure, so you don't even start.
Right. Yeah. And so you obviously have already worked your way past that one. Now you have a very different mindset.
It's a choice every day.
It's a choice every day. I agree with that one.
Sometimes you have to like gnaw through the ropes that you tied yourself up with.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah, I do have that feeling actually constantly. Yeah. I try to keep too busy. Like honestly, I think I stay so busy that I just exhaust myself, and I'm just like, I just don't want to do anything anymore. Like I don't give a fuck about the records I got. I don't give a fuck about like doing the podcast. I don't give a fuck about anything.
Yeah, careful, the burnout is real.
Careful about that one.
But you.
Yeah, make sure that sometimes you have to force yourself into like a little vacation where you're like, even though I love this thing, I have to not do it for a little bit because even though it's really cool and awesome, I need like a vacation of like regaining my mental fortitude so you can love it again. It's a cycle, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I will take a break after No Coast Fest. I think I'm just going to take a little bit of a sabbatical.
Yeah. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Leave the people wanting more.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. If you say so, I'll go with it.
Say so. Yes.
Well, all right. Well, then I just have to say that it's been a pleasure speaking with you both. And thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
Thank you, James. Really, it's a pleasure to be asked some really awesome questions and be talked to about a very formative new metal, not noise rock album.
Yeah.
But we appreciate it. It's the root of things for us. But man, do we love so many things about noise rock, angry music, and everything. And all we want to do is just expand that world.
But we also love hooks.
You love hooks, yes.
Yeah, no, it shows. I mean, your record is great. I'm happy to hear you guys have another pressing coming out, and I'd be looking forward to picking one up myself. Woo! And are you going to have copies at the show at No Coast?
Yes, we will. We made sure to get it just before we had to leave.
All right, that's great. So then we can hopefully pick one up there, and everyone else can too. And I don't know. I just hope to see you there. I know you're playing Saturday night, but you're going to be there all the days anyway.
Oh yeah, we're going to be hanging out, so don't be a stranger.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. Cool. Well, then I'm looking forward to it. I hope to see you there.
All right.
So, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Anytime. Good luck at your show.